Well, here we are again. 2 videos in the same fucking week. You lot are getting spoiled now. Just don't get used to it. Today, we're talking about none other than Sir Lewis fucking Hamilton. I'm sure most of you had seen the pic of him standing in front of an F40 and thought, cool picture. Well, that picture is not just another rich celebrity posing in front of an overpriced sports car. This picture symbolizes what may very well be the beginning of a new era for Formula One, for Ferrari, and most definitely for Lewis. Or how I like to call him, the dickhead who ruined F1 for 6 years.
I didn't get a win. Overall, pretty shocking year. My goal is to get back on the top. I'm trying to win a world championship again and reclaim my 8th.
For those regular viewers of mine, first off, thank you. I have no clue why you lot have stuck around this long listening to me complaining to a microphone for 10 minutes at a time while I was sitting at my parents' house completely living up to my potential as the family failure that I am. But secondly, y'all should know I fucking hate the guy. Honestly, if Paris wasn't such a waste of space, 90% of my content would be just purely hating on Hamilton's existence. But now Paris is officially gone from the grid. Hence I'm making a video about Lewis. But in all honesty, I have to give credit where credit is due. Otherwise, those that have stuck around will absolutely drill me in the comment section for smearing shit all over some of the greatest motorsport athletes that have ever lived. Focusing only on the small, bad things and ignoring the great achievements these lads have managed. You know, like complaining about something as trivial and simple as losing your team £20 million for finishing 8th in the driver's standings while your teammate in the same fucking car just became the 4-time world champion. That's just me, being picky. I'm being charged now. Perez is gone. Let's forget about Perez. Onto my next target. Hamilton. He is undoubtedly one of the greatest F1 drivers to have ever lived, at least based on the results he's been able to achieve during his career. Now, ignoring any and all circumstances that might have led him here, he is by all accounts a self-made 7-time world champion, and that's just a fact. And that is exactly why him switching from his all-time golden goose of a team to his arch nemesis is such a fucking big deal in the sport. Now, why is that such a big deal, you might ask? Well, good question. Let me explain, alright? This won't take long. Just 8 minutes. Long enough for me to put 3 ad breaks in this thing. Oh, come on. Calm down. I gotta get the kids through college somehow. So, a bit of background to start. Lewis Hamilton is one of the most pivotal figures in F1 today, and likely one of the most influential in the sport's whole history. He was at the forefront of the sport, becoming a household spectacle, penetrating the minds of... Now I have an image in my head that I really didn't want to have. He's managed to pollute the minds of not only greased-up petrol heads who, instead of spending their weekend with their family, like to spend it with a bunch of lads sipping bevies in the local sports pub, screaming at the TV when the millionaire they bet their household's mortgage on smashes into a wall at 150 miles an hour. Lewis was truly the first of the F1 drivers to become an actual celebrity in the common sense of the word. He was regular at many TV shows, followed everywhere by the paparazzi, and being caught with many different famous gals from all walks of life. Like, for real, in his late 20s, 30s, or whatever fucking age he is now, the lad was really fucking out there. Literally. But big disclaimer here. It wasn't because Lewis was just a playboy in the making that he had amassed such a crazy following in the conventional celebrity pop culture way. Of course, his countless flings, really fucking wild clothing style, I have to say, having been witness to it for many years now, I still don't fucking understand where he gets his fashion sense. It's either I'm just an old fart and don't get the latest trends, or the lad's just gullible, and the quote-unquote designers just managed to sell him all the fucking freaky shit that they couldn't pass off to the common audience, so they increased the price by a factor of 10 and just offloaded it to Lewis, under the premise that if you wear really fucking weird clothes, people will discuss that, instead of the blatant hair transplant you've been trying to cover up. Or the train wreck that were your 3 attempts at starting a music career. Nonetheless, these traits of his had certainly played a part in his rise to fame, but what was most definitely the critical factor here was just that Lewis is a fucking legend when it comes to driving. In fact, just to put things into perspective, the lad was consecutively the best in the #1 league of the #1 motorsport on this planet for 6 years straight. let's just forget about Rosberg for a second for the sake of my argument, okay? Nobody likes him anyway. And being the number one for so long has solidified his legendary status and gained him all the respect he truly deserves in the sport, which has seeped out into the rest of the world and allowed him to become a definite household name. Like, to put it into perspective, I could expect my mum to forget to call me on my birthday every now and again, but she will make sure to call me after every race to check out how her beloved Louis did on his big race. Now you're probably starting to understand why I fucking hate the man so much. But what's important here now is that Lewis actually made his career in the latter 2010s by making a very risky decision to switch to a new, arguably unproven Mercedes team. It was a questionable move following a few years of misfortune over at McLaren, but he in the end decided to put his whole career on the line and switched over to Mercedes, partnering Rosberg and filling the shoes of the recently departed Michael Schumacher. As you can probably tell, this quite heavily mimics the current predicament the knighted millionaire has found himself in over at Ferrari. An arguably risky move taking place at a time when his original team has begun to struggle. And so for many, this marks an attempt by Lewis to replicate his previously absurdly fucking successful gamble of jumping from the seemingly sinking ship that is the Mercedes garage and putting it all on red. Also, apart from just the historical significance of the move, it also just sort of flips the whole sport upside down. I mean, Hamilton has been known and recognized by all who have enjoyed F1 in the past decade as the Mercedes number one. The guy who has reliably won and performed, with Toto at the helm, and rivaled everyone, including all the greats who have attempted and failed to win with the Ferrari outfit. It almost seems to be impossible to secure a championship in the Scuderia, for one reason or another. I have to say, I'm very tempted to go off on a tangent right now and explain why Ferrari has utterly failed and failed over and over again, but I need to focus. I need to focus. Otherwise, this will be a 20-minute sidestep I'm going to have to cut. Oh, f*** it. You know, Ferrari has been one of the worst Now, as Lewis joins the infamous Scuderia team, it seems like almost biblical. The one who denied the dreams of many has now come to fulfill his own. To become a champion in red. For many reasons, this may very well come true. Undoubtedly, Ferrari has struggled to put it all together for its drivers, and there are many fucking reasons why that was the case. But if there was ever a chance for change, it's now. The reason being is arguably what makes or breaks a championship car is regulation changes. That is how McLaren lost their way in 2009 and allowed for Red Bull to spiral into a 4-year stint for Vettel, I don't fucking know. Sebastian, he's German, he'll deal with it. That is how then Mercedes, alongside Hamilton, had managed to build a car literally no other team could even come fucking close to. The only challenges that did come were from internal battles among the Merc. Thank fuck for Rosberg, honestly. I would have given up on the sport entirely in the Mercedes era. And that is also what has made Red Bull what it has been, and still kind of is today. Now, with 2026 regulations fast approaching, it is all to play for, arguably setting the stage for any of the top teams to secure the top spot in the championship. And bringing in Hamilton, an extremely talented and capable young pensioner, to sort of guide the almost lost in emotion and overly excited Scuderia team. And as long as they put a decent enough race engineer that can calm the emotionally unstable Hamilton, he will put in consistent laps for the team to build on and create the Ferrari we have always dreamed of. But truth be told, this can go one of two ways. While one of them I just described seems very nice and dandy, the other one is really fucking ugly. Hamilton has been racing for Mercedes. At their peak, one of the most consistent F1 teams there have ever been. While Ferrari has been quite a different story. Serving under the leadership of 3 different Italian blokes that could pass off as either your girlfriend's dad, that you love to spend more time with than your partner, or as the chef at your local Italian pizza joint, who's always cursing and screaming at the poor cooks for f***ing up the dough again and again and again and again. So this Italian bravado that has lingered in the team has led to some of the biggest blunders F1 has ever fucking seen. And I'm sad to say, Hamilton does not possess the nerves of fucking steel to deal with the bullshit that the Scuderia team may very well throw his way. So in essence, there are 2 ways this can go. He can use all of his expertise this season to help build the car and take the 2025 season to prepare for the upcoming regulation changes, creating a monster of a pairing for 2026 and once again writing his name into a Hall of Fame of Formula One, forever securing himself at the top spot of the sport, surpassing even Michael. That is, if Max decides to retire early and quit the sport in the next 3 years to join an esports team. Or he may very well dwindle in the absolute chaos and mistake-drilled outfit that is the Scuderia team and be cast away in the shadow of the talented Monegasque, being pushed into despair and dismissed by the F1 crowd before we even head into the summer break. So, it's either going to be really, really fucking good in the next couple of years, or he will crash and burn. I'm putting my money on the latter. Who the is calling me? Hello? No, Mom. He hasn't raced yet. It's still the off season. The next race is in another 2 months, you dumb cunt.